Hello to all of you around the world, and welcome to this open house live event that we're doing for EICAR, the International Film School of Paris. My name is John McNulty, and I'm going to be taking you through all of the ingredients today that you're going to need to know about our school. I'm joined by Zhu Ying to my left. Zhu Ying, would you like to present yourself?
Hello, everyone. I'm the academic advisor in the international department. My name is Su Ying Chen. And I'm really happy to join the open house with everyone. Nice to meet you and have a good day.
And to my right, Julien Zouangadot. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to be here for this virtual open day. I'm the International Development and Admission Officer, and I'm so happy to be here and be able to do this virtual event with you all. Don't hesitate to ask questions on YouTube. I will be the one watching out with Sue. So, yeah.
So we're going to be answering your questions. We're going to be taking you through a lot of different aspects of the school today. We'll be talking about the programs that we offer in the international department. We're also going to be speaking with some alumni that are joining us from various corners of the world via video link. And we are going to take you through every aspect of what you need to know to apply of student life, of joining us here at this film school. Now we're coming to you live from what's called the Zouk. This is the open area that's kind of got a 360-degree view of Paris here. Actually, I'll get up slowly and maybe take you through it in terms of showing you what's beyond us here. So we have the open area here. Sometimes we stage live sound events here for the sound department puts on live events. We also have, we have just finished earlier a shooting of our international programs, and they have left the sort of the set there just adjacent to us. They just wrapped their shooting. So this very much is indicative of the film school that we have here. To take you through the building here, we have 7 floors of studio space. I really consider it like a film studio and not a school. I mean, I've been to university and I've been to the lecture halls, and this is much more of a kind of production facility, I would say.
Yeah, definitely.
And it has on the 3rd floor we have our post-production sound facilities and our editing booths. On the underground portion of the school we have our production, our place to shoot, our cinematography class, and our plateaus. So I really feel like we're privileged in a way to be able to come to you at this live event and show you a little bit of a piece of the school, but it's very much indicative of a kind of production facility rather than your traditional classrooms and things like that. So let me get into a little bit of the history of our school. The international programs are actually quite old. They've been in existence since for 20 years now. We started the school in the 1970s. It's a private film school. It's always been so in Paris. It started as an acting school, but it quickly developed into filmmaking, and the international programs in which we're going to be hearing from 2 of our alumni started in 2003. And we've been going ever since that. We have 3 main programs in the international department. There's the Master of Fine Arts, which is a 2-year program that really covers all of the disciplines of filmmaking. We have a Bachelor of Fine Arts, which is a 3-year program. And we have a 1-year program that kind of is intended to cover the basics of filmmaking. We've also added an additional option to that, and that's the advanced cinematography option that will go into more detail as we go. So essentially, our major philosophy, and this has been the case for all of these years, is a practical, hands-on experience. I think that one thing that makes our film school different is the fact not only do we welcome people from all over the world, but we really believe in hands-on training. We believe that to be a filmmaker, you need to make mistakes, and I think in a film school, it's really, really good in those situations to be able to have a chance to try things out on the materials and see what's possible and what's not, especially when you get ready for the industry. So part of our philosophy is hands-on. The other part of our philosophy is really building a sense of team and communication. I really feel like in our classes, we emphasize the fact that directing, even if you're directing or even if you are, if you want to embark on this adventure as filmmakers, you have to learn how to communicate among all different kinds of people. And I think one of the great things about our department is we have these people from all over the world, and through the course of their instruction, they're working in crews and learning to work together, and that's a really big component of learning to be a filmmaker. And then the third thing that I think is really crucial is the fact that they have the chance to echo what the industry expects of them. So I think not only are we interested in good students, but we're interested in future filmmakers. And part of that, I think, is training people to think independently, to be motivated. This is a business that's often, very tough. And what our job is to really echo the standards, both in equipment, in approach to our faculty, insisting that they work, in the industry, really like set the students up for real expectations about what they're going to face during their time here. I don't know if that's what you see, I think, day to day, Sue, in your interaction with students. Do you see that that's kind of the goal that they have in mind when they come?
Of course, absolutely, that's what you say. Like in the bachelor and even in the master programs, we have different courses, like major courses, like from cinematography, editing, screenwriting, production, and directing. The students, they have like opportunities to work like in all these different aspects in the industry. So I think that would really like enforce the student to at least to try what they want to do, at least to make mistakes, like you say. It's really important. We are a campus. We are not like working like in industry. We have chance to make mistakes because we learn from the mistakes. That's really important part. And also like later on, we will talk about the programs and how our programs become combined. So absolutely, there are production period, like students will work together, like to make a project. So during the project, the students will find like which aspect in the industry or in the position of the crew they would like to do with. So for me, it's a really important part for the studies in EICAR.
And I think overall, the international aspect, I think the best part of our school is the fact that they're getting the most out of Paris. Obviously Paris is attractive cinematic history. It has a role in international filmmaking. It has the Cannes Film Festival. It has a lot of things to learn about how films are made in France. But also I think it's great that we have not only faculty and students that are coming from all over the world, but educationally we're giving them the best of both worlds, as they're going to understand, how scripts are developed internationally or in Hollywood, and the writer's room, and the concepts of learning about TV production and everything, and the way that's changing in the United States, but also the way that films are set up in France, and the particularity of what makes French cinema so special. I think Julien might have some questions.
Yes.
We're going to answer your questions as we go through here. We have some topics to cover, but we're always eager to answer your questions.
Definitely, we have some questions on the live right now from Upmanayu. Hello, one of the reviews I would read for the school was a bit unclear about the filmmaking aspect of the course. From my understanding, the students are supposed to produce films ourselves. Is it true?
Yes. The end result of every year, whether you're in the bachelor, 1 year, or master's, is both a midterm project that is more, I think, of a group project, but there's always the end of year project, in which case you develop a script in your script class, and that is then developed and green-lighted into production. And then at the end of the year, you shoot the films that you've developed as directors. So there are plenty of shoots that you work in different capacities on in the final year projects, or the end of every year. But you also are up for directing projects in each of these years. And this applies to both the bachelor or the master's. So yes, it is a very big component for us that you're able to make your own films and learn from your mistakes that way, as well.
That's true. It's great. Actually, there are some people saying thank you for this live. So,
okay.
And there's another question from Jana saying, how a day would look like as a student here at EICAR?
Well, I will leave maybe a quotient of that portion of that answer to our student that is going to join us later, Lisa. She's going to come. She's in BFA 2 right now, and she's probably the best equipped to give you a real sense of the day. But in general, you're going to have the years. An average week is about 25 hours of classes, and basically sometimes you have a morning or an afternoon portion of the day that's devoted to either a practical class that's a little longer, but normally you have a little bit of space in the day to be able to do either individual projects or homework together with errands that you might need to do. So essentially, once you're out here for the classes, and then once you're free, you're free. It's not like you have to spend a lot of time hanging around for another lecture or something that you would maybe in a university setting. So the answer is half a day usually in most of the programs, depending on whether it's a class schedule or a workshop schedule.
Yeah. It gives time to our students to do their personal project, which is good. There is actually plenty of questions. The second year major, so I guess they are talking about the MFA. Does this major accept students with no prior directing experience?
Yes. The essence of the MFA is that you don't have to have studied film prior, especially in a practical sense. We have students who have studied other subjects and have gotten their undergraduate degrees in psychology or sociology or economics or something, and then are changing directions in their life. So sometimes we have media students or students who have studied cinema prior as their undergraduate degree, but not always. The importance is that you have an undergraduate degree.
Okay, great. Do we continue a little bit and take?
Well, I think basically what I want to do is cover a few of the subjects here, and then we'll have a little bit of question and answer time as we go through. So there are three main programs in the international department. There's the Master of Fine Arts, which is 2 years. This, again, is for students applied to us from all over the world with different backgrounds. Our aim, I would say, in the first 6 months, Sue, is to get everybody up to a kind of foundational level. I mean, sometimes we have students with various capacities and knowledge, and I think the overall aim in the first 3-4 months of the master's is to kind of get everybody roughly on the same kind of fundamentals level. And then very quickly after that, I would find that the first year advances in terms of subject matter or advanced subject matter where they can tackle things a little earlier, for instance, than the bachelor students who maybe spend a year on fundamentals. So in the master's, I would say that it tends to attract a mature student who's may have studied something else, but is now looking to really develop their skills in a kind of more compressed space of time. We also have the room in the master's program to be able to try out all the disciplines. You know, whether you're interested in cinematography or directing or sound, you're going to get the fundamentals in all of those, and you're going to get a chance relatively quickly to advance in those skills in the classes. That is also in the master's program supplemented with workshops where sometimes to be able to teach a subject, you need to kind of go into it in a little bit more detail, which the workshops cover. And also sometimes the professionals that do the workshops are only maybe available for a time. So it's better to kind of learn a piece of equipment in 3-4 days than spend all year on it. So that's supplemented with a workshop quotient. And then in the middle term, or in the middle period of the year, in the first year of the master's, there's a midterm project where we encourage the combination, people from different years to kind of form the crews and work on the subjects together. And then there's an end-of-year term where it's a pure production term where the time is spent on the films that have been prepared during the year, and they have to work in different capacities on those crews, but also potentially direct and produce their own films as well. It's usually an 8-minute film in the first year to be able to do, and then a 12-minute film in the second year, depending on sometimes what people are interested in. And then that's supplemented with, as I say, workshops, and a very strong, I think, emphasis on the fact that we realize that master's students expect to be able to have a real gateway to the area of professionalization. And that's why I do want to talk about internships, but we can talk about that a little later. As far as the bachelor's program, I think it's a really dynamic undergraduate program. We're going to talk to some alumni who went into the program. It's 3 years. The first year really is oriented around doing the fundamentals, making sure you got the basics in all the different subjects. But the second year, at least in directing, has more of an emphasis on documentary, which we find is a really good, it not only broadens the student's perspective for the job market, because as we know, a lot of times the first jobs are not necessarily always in fiction. They're sometimes in documentary. So it broadens your skills and it broadens your horizon. And it also gives the students the chance to really step away a little bit from writing and more go into directing and structure. There's still a writing class running parallel, but the students really get, I think, a lot out of that documentary emphasis in directing. And then the third year, they can really edge more toward maybe a subject that they're interested in, especially in the final project. So, and then the 1 year, I think, is a great option for people who are interested in the basics, who maybe are not interested in committing to a degree program, but want a kind of taste of what practical filmmaking is all about. Some of them use it as a launching pad to continue in the bachelor's. Some of them are satisfied with the certificate and the inroads they've made to potentially do an internship from there, or to be able to pursue more specialized things that they're interested in. So the 1 year is a really, I think, good option for people. And then finally, we have the advanced cinematography program. We found that we get a lot of interest in cinematography from people from all over the world, and those people wanted a kind of program or a year where they could really make their time here more oriented toward camera, lighting, and assistant camera. So we created this year in which they can study cinematography. They get a little bit of the other classes available in the third year of the bachelor's, but they walk away with a certificate that's sort of honed around cinematography. So that's a good option if you're interested, if you have a lot of experience as a cameraman and you want to spend a year perfecting maybe an area that you're not as well versed in. The advanced cinematography is a good option for people, and that's the only program that requires a little bit of an exam before that. So I've run through the main programs we have here. I think one thing that I think really makes the international programs stand out is the fact that we have, as part of our experience, guest lectures every week. So we find it's really important to remain in contact with the industry and invite people every week to come in and speak. So we have a guest lecture series. I'm old enough at the school to remember some of the guests we've had over the years. We've had Charlotte Rampling, the actress. We've had Richard Leacock, one of the very fundamental, if you're into documentary, Richard Leacock was one of the sort of, with Robert Flaherty, one of the key figures of American documentary. We've had George Lucas's screenwriters on Temple of Doom, Gloria Katz and Willard Huyck. We've had costume designers, people from Arte Distribution Network. So the idea is to try and get students a little bit of an extra perspective apart from the faculty who, you know, are all working themselves in the industry, but the guest lectures are a really good component. We also have, as part of our resources, the membership at the Cinematheque that allows students to use the library there and to watch films and go to screenings and everything else. So I always encourage students, if they're not here, they're at Bercy at the Cinematheque, getting the most out of that. And also, I think what's key to understand about the international programs is they're all in English, but we really insist that the students learn French while they're here. Not only because it makes life easier in France, but also because if you do want to make contacts here, if you want to pursue internships, French really helps with every aspect here at EICAR. So we have French classes as part of the curriculum that are mandatory that people take. So I think I've covered some of the bases. Do you?
Yeah. We do have some questions
Okay.
regarding the programs, actually lots of questions, so it's great to have all of you here.
Thank you very much for
participating. So I guess the first question is from Arda. How many hours lessons we have in a week? I guess how many hours, contact hours do we have in a week?
Lessons, I think it's between 20 and 25 hours a week of lessons or workshops. But then you also can have tutoring times with your head professor that are part of the week's work. And you also potentially have homework or shooting on the weekend, sometimes as an exercise for a class. So, but instructional-wise, I think between 20 and 25 hours across the board in all of the different programs.
Yes. So there is another question that is actually very interesting. Hi, Julian. Hi. Just wanted to check the difference between the international and French programs.
Okay. The main difference, I think we have the same philosophy, is essentially we believe in hands-on instruction. You are going to learn all the basis of the craft from sound to cinematography to editing to directing to screenwriting. The main, I think, differences are just in terms of the size, is that obviously in the international we have about 15 to 20 students in the master's program per year, which allows us to kind of have a little bit more of the Anglo-Saxon model of trying to follow the individual students through each phase of their work, because there's a little bit, there's tutoring time reserved for that. Same thing in the bachelor's, is that we have the bachelor program allows tutoring time and allows time to really talk with your professor, especially around cuts. You know, I think students often do the first cut of their film and they really want feedback from, say, Sean Cullen, who teaches our editing, and they can have the time to be able to do that. The second, I think, difference is a little bit pedagogical in the sense that we have documentary in second year of the BFA. I think they do more commercials in the 3-year French equivalent. So in the grand parameters, it is the same philosophy, but there's a little bit of a smaller approach, I think, in the international. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's all for this part of this interview. I think we can continue on the admission and other topics because we have some questions regarding admission.
Of course. So just finally, you know, I wanted to mention that beyond the regular programs, we do have every summer a series of workshops in English where students from around the world have come to us to be able to do these workshops that are 2-week workshops that allow you to really spend some time here doing some practical filmmaking. And also there's a cultural component now that we've added where we talk about French filmmaking and we do a little bit of the cultural excursions at the same time as we're covering the basis of basic filmmaking. So keep in mind our workshops. If you're interested in maybe sampling the school and what we have to offer, and maybe you have some time in July and you're looking for a good basics workshop, the summer workshops are really perfect for that. And a lot of times what we find is that students who come to the workshops end up maybe saying, oh, can I apply to the major programs, the full-time programs. So I wanted to mention that those
definitely.
Workshops.
It's so important to know about these summer programs because every year we are running it, and we have international students from around the world, so Thailandese students, and we will talk more about our partners later on, but they are also coming for these summer workshops.
I'm going to talk a little bit about how to apply because we're going to go back to that, but it's fairly simple on the international programs. If you go to www.ecar.fr/en to have it in the English language programs, you can tap on how to apply. There's a button. And essentially, we get back to you, Julian and myself, or someone from the admissions office, with the instructions on how to apply. And it's fairly straightforward. Fairly soon after we receive all the materials that we need, a letter of motivation, the application itself, sometimes a portfolio sample for the master's, we then schedule a Zoom interview. So we understand that most people, like yourself out there in the world, can't come here in person, so we do that Zoom interview as part of it. What we're looking for in an applicant, as far as I'm concerned, obviously we're looking at the transcripts to be able to make sure that the student, you know, has taken their subject seriously, but we're also interested in their self-motivation, their sense of point of view, and that comes out sometimes in the motivation essay or during the interview. One has the sense that this will make a really motivated filmmaker with a point of view, and that's, I think, what most we're looking for in terms of the motive. I don't know if you've run across it when you've done interviews.
Yeah.
What impresses you about a student?
Yeah, I think it's the motivation mainly, also the references they have in terms of filmmaking and television. So this is something, also the personal stories really is important. So as long as they're very motivated to join our school and to know what we can bring to them, that's what makes the interview quite interesting to me.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, we're looking for a great point of view. We can teach you craft, but what we can't teach you sometimes is to be inspired and to have that kind of point of view. Obviously, Paris is very inspiring, and we do have some cultural courses like Virginia Field's Curiosity in the Cinema, where you go out and you experience Paris, but we're also interested in people with a point of view, and that's really comes out sometimes in the letter of motivation. Are there any questions?
We do have some questions. When is the application deadline for the bachelor course, and when will we hear back about the acceptance?
Good question. So we have a rolling basis a lot of times for applications, because what we find is that because people are coming from all over the world, the visa question is often having a student visa takes time to get. So what our deadline is right now is it's the 30th of June for international applicants. That goes for BFA, MFA in 1 year. But obviously the turnaround for our getting back to students, we realize people are on a timeline, and certain countries take longer to get student visa and everything. So the sooner you apply, the sooner we can get you an answer, usually within 2 weeks of receiving the interview. 1 week later, we do the interview, and then a couple days later, we usually wrap and give you an answer to that file so that you have time to process it, make your decision, and then register and go through with the student visa process that takes time. Yeah. So residence takes time, student visa takes time. So I think earlier, right now, through the month of March is really the ideal time to apply to the international. Yeah.
Thank you, John. We still have a lot of questions. Okay. We will try to select the questions because we need to move forwards. But the last question, I think, for the admission will be from Jana. Do you need to have a portfolio with previous filmmaking experiences in order to get accepted in the first year of the BFA or MFA?
No, you don't. In terms of the MFA, we do expect you to have some kind of a submission, whether it's writing or photos. But in the BFA, writing and photos can be a really, really good intro into a good conversation with a filmmaker. We don't expect you to have done an award-winning short film or anything like that. If the best material that you've done is a short film, then send us that. But if the best material that shows your point of view is a small writing sample, send that so that we can talk about that. The important thing is that you're engaged in artistic or creative activity at whatever stage of your life you're in, and that we can talk to you about that. So the answer is no, it's not a deal breaker to not have a sample in the MFA or the BFA. The MFA, we tend to want to have some kind of sample to talk about. But even in the BFA, even if it's not a film, talking about your writing or talking about photos is a really good entry to the conversation in an interview.
I think there's a good questions also about programs. Maybe we can address it. One of the person is asking Emmanuel. She's saying, "Hello, if I want to be an actress, is it the good school?"
An actress. So maybe I can answer that. Well, in the international English-speaking programs, we don't have an acting option, but there is a very good department in the Francophone. So the Francophone Actorat has a 3-year program, and they welcome people from all over the world, but it is in the French language. So if you are fluent in French and you want to study with us, it covers both cinema and theater, and it's a really good program, a 3-year program. So feel free to apply to that if your French language skills allow you to do that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, John. The questions keeps popping, but
okay. So what we'll do, I think, we're gonna get to these questions, but I really do want to get to some of our alumni to give you a kind of slightly different insight into some experiences of some of our students who have studied at EICAR. I'm going to connect to them. One of the students that I'm going to be talking to, and not a student anymore, is Bart Kowalski. He's in Poland, as we're going to speak, and he is a director now, working on feature films. He's done several features films for Netflix, and his specialty, like Tor, the other gentleman that I'm going to be talking to at the time, is they were always interested in horror films. And so, unlike the grain of most students that have studied with us, Bart and Tor really were interested in the horror genre and have taken that to the furthest degree in making careers out of it. So I think it's a really good opportunity for me to talk to both Bart and Tor. Now, they can't hear each other, but I'm going to maybe address my question maybe first to Bart, because I can kind of see him. Bart, can you tell us what year you graduated and really, I guess, the full description of what you're doing now?
Hey, John. Hey, everyone. Thanks very much for having me. When did I graduate? Jesus, I can't remember. Was it 2009?
Yes, you're right.
2000,
You're right.
2009. Yeah. What am I doing at the moment? Well, to make a long story short, when I came back to Poland, I started off with documentaries. I did 2 documentary films for HBO. Then I did my feature film debut, which premiered in San Sebastian Film Festival, and pretty much traveled a little bit around the world, around the festival circuit. It was called Playground. And then I started working with Netflix, for which I did 3 horror films. They're called Nobody Sleeps in the Woods Tonight, Part 1, 2, and Hellhole. And right now I am finishing another film for Netflix and another film for Polish national TV. Both of them are going to premiere this year, and the Netflix one is a flick I actually co-wrote with Tor, who's also a guest here with us.
This is fantastic to hear, because I know you guys were in the same class together, and you very much, I remember the projects that you guys worked on. It's so great that, 10, 15 years later, you're still in touch, and I think this is why I wanted to talk to alumni, because, one thing I say to students is that, your fellow students are going to be a part of your lives, for potential jobs, for potential connections, or even just for moral support as you try to guide yourself through the filmmaking as a career. Tor, maybe I can have a little word with you. What year? I think you graduated a little earlier, maybe than Bart, in the BFA, and tell us about your journey since then. I know you've maybe done a master's program in England, and you're currently in England.
Hi, John. Thanks for having me. Yeah, that's correct. I believe it was 2008 or 2007 I graduated. Yeah, my memory isn't what it used to be, but it was around that time. It was a little bit earlier, and then Bartosz stayed on for a little bit longer. Yeah, it was an interesting journey, because I went into the BFA really with a strong idea that I wanted to be a director. And then all the great directors that I liked were writer-directors. So I'd always tried to write and do my scripts. And by the time I started the BFA, I had done about 3 feature scripts. They were all terrible, but I had that experience under my belt. And then I found working with other people at the school, because I had that experience, they sort of came to me for advice or for polishing on scripts. And I really found out I really enjoyed script writing over directing. I had less patience for directing, because you get on the day and you had a perfect shot in your head with, the sunrise, and then you show up on that day and it's rainy and it's cloudy. And as a writer, you can just write the sunrises and move on with your day. So I stuck with writing. I graduated a bit earlier. And then, as Bartosz mentioned, he worked on a few documentaries over in Poland. I went to the Netherlands, and we developed a couple of features together, but there just was no space for genre movies in Poland at that time. So we ended up going into documentaries. I eventually moved to London and did my master's degree in screenwriting. And then it's been an interesting journey. It was hard to find feature work, so I ended up working as a film journalist and a video game journalist, and then eventually that got me a job as a lead story writer on a video game that I did for about 2 years. And then me and Bartosz sort of reconnected. Actually, weirdly enough, it was during pandemic, and we hadn't talked for a little bit. And I was on a website reading the news, and it said, first Polish slasher movie ever made is releasing this October. And I read that headline. I'm like, that sounds like something Bart would have done. And I read it, and he had made a feature, and I was really impressed. And we sort of reconnected over the sequel film, because we had written a feature before, and he wanted to use a concept for that. And he was, he was respectful. He wanted to ask me and say if that was okay to use sort of a nugget of an idea. And I said, fine. Yeah. And we ended up reconnecting and just hitting it off. and wanting to basically collaborate on something. And that's where I am today.
Maybe I can ask a key question first for Bart to respond, and then for Tor to respond. What was do you think the key lesson that you got out of EICAR, or some of the skills or the knowledge that you got out of EICAR that helped you in the process? And then what was the part in the industry that you were like, oh man, I wish I would have got this information or these kind of skills? So I guess the positive and maybe what was missing, what maybe future graduates can sort of prepare themselves in the industry. Bart, and then Tor.
Yeah, I think maybe what was missing, which of course at the time I had absolutely no clue about it, but listening to your presentation of the nowadays programs, it seems like, I think you mentioned in the second year you're doing the documentary course
In the BFA,
or just some hands-on documentary stuff, and I think this is something that we were missing, because Tor and I really focused on short horror films. And I mean, let me tell you, when I came back to Poland, it was not easy to get a horror film off the ground. And I just somehow I switched into documentaries. And I think documentary is the easiest way to break into the industry, because it's just so much cheaper to do. And you can really do it with the crew of 2, 3, 5 people. And all you need is a really good subject, and it's a lot easier to get it financed. And I had absolutely no clue about it, because I mean, I was so sure that I'm just gonna travel back to Poland and straight away do horror films, and it took me quite a few years before that actually happened, and I had to do other stuff before. But what I really appreciate about EICAR until now is is that every year we had our hands on the equipment, and every year we were, in a way, forced to fulfill every position in our friends' short films, which is kind of like we had to get our hands dirty. Like, I know how it felt to carry a light. I know how it felt to put a dolly. I know how it was to be a first AD, second AD, to do makeup or special effects or whatever, which... like right now, I have a lot of friends who are working in the industry in Poland, and they come from Polish film school, like for example from Łódź, which is like super prestigious, like top 3 film schools of the world. And like in their program, from the moment they go into the school, they are the chosen ones. That's what the professors tell them, that they are the chosen ones, and they really kind of consider themselves as like messiah of cinema. And then, you know, when the school ends, you crash into the reality. It's an industry full of rejection nonstop, and a lot of these people, you know, they just, it's a huge wake-up call. You're not the chosen one. You're not a perfect, exceptional snowflake. And they just really, you know, like for 5 years, they were just sitting in the director's chair and being like super important. And I think what the best thing about EICAR was to learn every position on the film set, which, you know, in a way made me humble.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I really, really appreciate that, because I know for a fact that some film schools don't do that, and I think it's a huge, huge mistake.
Yeah. And Tor, what was your sort of takeaways, and then since you've encountered the industry, the things that maybe you wish to impart?
Yeah, and I'm kind of on a similar page as Bart. I really like that you got your hands dirty. You know, sort of as I mentioned before, I went in there wanting to be a director, and because you got to try everything, I sort of found a different path, really. But I wouldn't have had that opportunity if I hadn't sort of gotten my hands dirty and tried other things. I mean, let's not forget, like me and Bart, we were the dolly guys. You know, everybody wanted us to do dollies on their film shots because we were the pros at it, you know? And that was a great feeling to sort of be part of the machine, you know, not be thinking, okay, I'm up here. You know, you have your chance to make your movie, be prepared, but you know sort of what you can ask from that crew, and you've been crew, so you know better how to treat those crew members, you know, and not sort of be a dictator. And so I really like that. I guess, I mean, of course, one thing that I wasn't prepared for is, you know, film school, it's a safe space and you can really try things out and it's a great place to develop. But, you know, when you get out there, the business aspect, I don't think I really, at least in those days, there wasn't enough that sort of prepared us for how the business worked. I don't know how it is now because it was a little bit...
Yeah, we're trying to integrate more talk about contractuals, contracts, and business-oriented things in the producing classes. But I think that's a deficiency in a lot of film schools, is this auteur kind of praise, but not a real reality of really preparing people for the industry and learning to be polyvalent and learning to do different jobs and learning to listen to no, and also to be able to be really flexible and prepared. So I think that's what we believe too. And I think that film schools, that concentrate too much on the auteur kind of thing sometimes don't cover that. And so I'm glad. Yeah. Well, I'm super glad to be able to talk with you guys. It's been such a pleasure. We're going to get to the next subject, but I really thank so much you guys for participating today. I think it's fabulous, the journey that you've had together and that you're able to work together also on feature films. I think it's fabulous. And thank you very much for showing up today, both Bart and Tor. We appreciate it.
Thanks for it.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, Bart. Thanks, Tor. Okay, well, I'm going to hand over the discussion a little bit to Julien, who's going to talk about some other aspects of preparing to come to the school, namely the sort of the student life aspect, the residence aspect, and some of the partnerships that also Julien develops.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, John. So it's true, we have a lot of questions coming, but we will try to answer them at the end maybe, or we will answer them anyways. But yeah, I think the next things to know whenever you are an international student is once I am enrolled, what is happening? So there are different things happening once you're enrolled. So basically, you will have access to our pre-information session. So the pre-information session gives you a way to have a one-on-one chat with me or one of the team member. So basically, we will help you assist your arrival in Paris at EICAR or in France in general. So whenever you need additional administrative documents, we will help you out, especially for students who need a visa. Or if it's for a scholarship as well, we will be able to provide you any kind of documents. In terms of other things we are offering, I think one of the things that is important is the accommodation. So once you're enrolled and once you get your visa, for the students who need a visa, is that you will need to find an accommodation. And for that, we are providing additional services. We have 3 partnerships with residences. We have a partnership with To Depart, which is an online platform. We also have a partnership with Les Estudiants, which is not so far away from our campus. And the last one is You First Campus, which is basically the residence for freshers, because it's right next to our campus, 10 meters away only. So it gives you 5 minutes to come to the campus. It's great whenever you wake up quite late. What else do we provide in terms of additional services? We do have a partnership with a bank. If you need to open a French bank account, it's possible. We have a partnership with Banque Populaire, and all international students can get a free French bank account. So we are also helping you out with that. Another thing that is quite important for the international students is the student buddies. So we have a buddy platform, and you can apply for this buddy platform, or you can apply to get a buddy. Essentially, a buddy is a student from EICAR that will help you out and that will guide you through your academic life here at EICAR, but also your journey in Paris, in France in general. So you will be able to talk to that buddy, and usually we are matching them with different kind of interests. It's a little bit like Tinder. So it's great to know that you have other students that will help you out here. At EICAR, we are kind of a big family, so we are helping each other, and it's great to have a buddy when you arrive here. Then obviously before you start your academic year, you will be able to do the orientation week. And maybe Sue, you want to talk a little bit about the orientation week?
So during the orientation week, we'll have the workshop charrette. Like it's a workshop that it will be like mixed with the new students and our like students from BFA 2, BFA 3, MFA 1, MFA 2 to finish a really short film like in 24 hours. It is it's difficult, but it's fun.
And it's a good icebreaker. People are meeting for the first time. They're in crews. They've never seen each other.
Yeah.
So during this Freshers Week, this kind of charrette, as they call it, is a chance for everybody to make a movie together.
Exactly. It's really fun. And then at the end of the charrette, there's a screening and in the hub, our amphitheater. And there will be a screening and, like we can feel the atmosphere, like they are really fun and they had fun during the project, and also like they are really happy and really satisfied with their result. Yeah.
It's a good way of meeting each other.
Exactly. I always have good reviews about the charrettes. So also, I guess we have the graduation at the end of your programs, obviously, so you will be able to throw your hat in the hub whenever you finalize your program.
And it's mixed with the screening. So at the same time as you graduate, we have our film screenings that are a reflection of the productions that are the graduation productions, as well as, some select films, and there's a jury there. So we make both the graduation ceremony half projection and half graduation. But it is a moment in which they receive their degrees and diplomas, and it's a little bit in the Anglo-Saxon tradition of throwing your tassels in the air and things like that. So we do have that ceremony that it's a part of the process.
Yeah, we're organizing this ceremony, and it's always very nice for the students who finalize their program. So in terms of additional services, that's what we have here at EICAR for international students. Just to add a little bit of context, we do have a label, which is the Bienvenue en France label, which is delivered by Campus France. Basically, Campus France is a governmental agency that will help promote higher education in France for international students. And basically, this certification, this label, is reassuring international students on the fact that we are able to host international students. Moving on, I think it's important to know the advantages as an international student. You will be able to get a free pass for the Cinémathèque Française. So the Cinémathèque Française, if you don't know what it is, it's a non-profit French film organization that holds the largest archives of film and film-related objects in the world, and they are just doing a lot of events, and you are able to do it with the pass. Another thing that is important is that with your enrollment, you get a free LinkedIn Learning license, which is good for tutorials, for gaining professional and personal skills. Obviously, the Adobe license that you can use within our school. And we have an internship department. So whenever you are looking for an internship, we have people who will be able to help you out and support you through the project.
But one thing that's really key about doing an internship with us is that we ask students to, take their French skills seriously and go to the French classes so that you are able to prepare your CV in French and submit it to the people that can help you here with the internships.
Yeah. And I think it's essential. Obviously, as you said, John, the students need to know a little bit of French in order to be able to search and look for an internship. But whenever you have the skills and whenever you have the level, you will be able to find an internship here if you want to. I think I'm going to try to go a little bit faster on the I of EICAR. So you know that EICAR is an international school. And it's not only because we have international programs. No, it's also because we are trying to create partnerships. And we have, at the moment, 16 partnered universities in the European Union and also out of the European Union. So, for example, if you join our BFA, you will be able to do a year abroad during your second year. So we have partners in Germany, we have partners in Hungary, Turkey, we are also in the US, Thailand. So it's to give you a little taste of what you can do here as well in terms of international opportunities. We also have projects with these partners, obviously, and international students can take part in this project. Right now, the project coming up is in summer school with one of our partners in the US. It's the City University of New York, and 20 students will be able to go there to visit the studios in New York, to learn a little bit more about the English language, obviously, and do projects related with filmmaking, obviously. Since last year, we do have the Erasmus Plus Charter. So what is the Erasmus Plus Charter? It's a charter that will help you do the international mobility and also do internships in the European Union. And through this charter, you can have like a scholarship. So it's a good way to do an international mobility and an internship. Obviously, international students can access this charter, so they can have the Erasmus Plus status as long as they are enrolled at EICAR. So it's good for the students. And actually, we do have Erasmus students coming every year to our BFA. And this year we have 2 students from our partner in Germany, with BAN. And with us today we have Lisa Null. So I'm welcoming her to the set to ask her a little bit of questions. Hi, Lisa.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm super. It's très magnifique.
So it's so good to have you here. You are one of the first German Erasmus Plus students we have at EICAR. I just wanted to ask you a little bit of questions, and I guess the first question is, why did you choose EICAR for your Erasmus Plus program?
Yeah, my partner university, my university in Germany, had the partnership to EICAR is very new, and when I heard about it, I went to the website, and I have to admit I fell in love with the first sight, kind of, because I read about the school's philosophy, and yeah, it got me. And I did internships before, so I know how important it is to do something, to make movies, to make mistakes. That's not just a saying. You have to make mistakes. It's totally inspiring you to gain more skills and to grow. So I loved what I read there, and so I decided to come to EICAR. And of course, for me, it was very interesting to do a whole year abroad, not just 6 months or less. So it was great for me.
Nice, and we love having you here,
yeah.
obviously. Can you share your overall experience so far as an Erasmus Plus student here at EICAR?
Yeah, it's crazy, but in a 100% good way. So I'm totally overwhelmed since day one. We have such sophisticated and inspiring classes. I'm so lucky to experience that all, because at the moment I'm kind of I couldn't choose. I'm interested in all, and we have such good teachers. I love all the classes. I even love the homeworks. So of course we have to do homeworks, but I love it. It's so good to do that for yourself. You gain so much from them, and you can take so much from it. So
and responding to a question that someone asked, describe a typical day, like a Tuesday. What would be on your schedule?
On Tuesday, for example, I have at first film history class, and that is very interesting too. I have to admit, my knowledge about film history in a way has some lacks, but I'm totally interested in it to learn more about it. So it's great to have that, and we also watch little pieces of movies from back in the days. Mm-hmm. So totally fine. Yeah, I like it very much. Afterwards, we have a little break, about half an hour, I guess, so you have time to relax and take some food or whatever. And then we have directing class, which is super. I like it a lot. We have.
Where is it? Is it downstairs?
Yes, it's downstairs in the underground corridor, you could say. And there we have 7 studios, if I'm not wrong,
Yeah.
which is very much. You can book them even if you don't have classes, so you can try yourselves out. It's, yeah, genius. So we have a lot of workspaces here, so it's great.
Yeah, international students are quite involved in everything, and the viewers don't know that, but that you actually helped us with this live today, this virtual open day. So thank you, and thank you for the students also.
Yeah, I'd like to thank the students who are in the international department, who are part of the crew right now, doing the multi-camera, helping the technicians out. So it's really great to have you guys participate in this event as well.
And it's nice for us because we have an opportunity to progress and show our skills. So thank you. Back.
And I guess I wanted to ask last questions. I mean, how would you describe the support and assistance you got as an Erasmus Plus student here at EICAR?
Yeah, we have so much support. I remember, of course, if you go abroad for maybe the first time, you have a lot of questions in the beginning, but you can ask as much questions you want to ask, and mostly about in a very small amount of time, you will receive your support, your help that you need. So you never feel alone. Like you said before, it's like a family here. So I feel very, very homey, and I feel very good. I never feel alone. And so it's very supportive, hand in hand.
Great.
Nice. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you for being here with us.
Yeah, thank you.
I guess that's all the questions I had.
Yeah, me too. As part of our partnerships, I just wanted to also highlight that we're a member of the Select Cinema organization, which is a collection of film schools all around the world. That recently our membership entitles us to many things. It's a chance for us to connect with other film schools, to learn from other film schools. They have conferences once a year. But key for our students to give them value is that they have that your final films, and it's good for you to know this, Lisa, and everybody, that they have as part of the Select organization, we have access to the Student Academy Awards. So as part of that, the International Select Committee, the films that you make here, now not all films are going to be, a film festival worthy immediately, but the chance to actually participate and to submit your film into the Select track for the Student Academy Awards is a possibility. So we're happy with that new membership that gives us access to other film schools around the world to kind of further connect us to other institutions and partnerships. Maybe I think we're reaching the end, but I'd like to maybe get to one or two questions, and then we can wrap up here.
Of course. So I'll try to do that. Oh yeah, in terms of the admission, what will be the interview roughly about? Discussing creative vision and point of view, getting to know the students and the personal motivation.
Both of those things is the answer. Is that the interview tends to be about 25 minutes. It's a combination of going over your background, going over your goals, asking creative questions to you, asking questions about how you see your ambition after EICAR, as well as the kind of projects that you might want to tackle here to get a sense of you as a filmmaker. So the answer is in that question. It's kind of half creative question, a little bit of background, a little bit of goals, and a little bit of testing creativity and motivation.
Yeah, you're right, definitely. There's another question from Theo. How many applicants do you have for the bachelor course out of 15-20 students that will end up attending the course? How high is the competition?
Yeah, so this year we had 26 bachelor students, or 27, I think. So there's 15 to 20 in the MFA. There were 25 or 26 students this year in the bachelor's. Basically, we get about 3 times that. So I think there were about 85 applications for 25 or 26 that were finally in our program. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. There is another question from Cap Tana Duck. Sometimes it's difficult to read the pseudo. I have always studied abroad, but I have a French passport. Could I still join the international program? And I guess I'll take this question. So if you have a French passport, you definitely can join our international programs for sure. So yeah, just apply.
It's just a matter of, being comfortable in English and being comfortable with the nature of the programs, which is challenging, and you're going to meet people from all over the world. But we always have candidates from France or from an international, maybe education, traveling around the world that are maybe used to international programs. We do have candidates for that in the international department as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess another question that can be interesting as well is from Upma Nayu. Are the programs geared more toward French, European cinema, filmmaking, or American?
Both, but more toward European, I would say. I think that there's value in learning the writer's room, the 3-act structure, the Hollywood structure in writing. But as much as that, we're looking at that, we're also looking at experimental films and the European tradition of auteur cinema and Godard and André Bazin and the whole new wave. So it depends on, the answer is a bit of both, but I think it's more favored toward the European. Yeah. So I think that's what we have time for today. I'd like to thank all of you for participating. It's been a half discussion, half information session, and hopefully valuable for you all as well. It's a chance for you all over the world to come and be with us in our facility for an hour or so. We thank you for joining us. So thanks, Sue.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Julien.
Thank you.
And we will see you soon. Please keep us in mind to apply again. You can visit our site, www.ecar.fr/en, for the international programs. And you can, if you want to get in touch with us, there's a little apply now kind of button that will get in touch in terms of an application and for any info you require. So we hope to hear from you soon, and stay in touch.